get to the top being lonely. You get to the top fighting your hardest. And that's my struggle. I don't want that. I don't want to be that person.
Right.
But people have turned me into that person.
Okay, interesting. Okay. Yeah, I see where the therapy's coming. Welcome to another brand new episode of the Skittle Squad Podcast. We're glad you're here. My name is David Smith, and I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Paul Pfeiffer.
Hey, Paul, how are you?
Hey, I'm fine. How are you?
Good. Why don't you tell folks a little bit about what the podcast is all about, what we're trying to do?
Yeah. So our podcast, when we put this together, was always intended to be a positive forum and platform for those businesses and movers and shakers within the community, Tampa Bay and beyond, to come on the show and talk about what they're doing in the community, highlighting those businesses that are safe spaces for our community, so on and so forth. So it's intended, again, to be positive and uplifting and joining the community together. So you'll always see us talk positively. And
yeah, actually, that's 100% on the money. And also, of course, doing what we love to do the most, talking with our guests.
Yep.
Yeah, so today we're actually talking with one of my favorites, Brianna Summers.
Yay!
Super exciting, so stay tuned for
Such a
her.
big
She'll
fan.
be on in just a few minutes. But first, I did want to talk to you about a little bit of a controversial thing. Your t-shirt says, "Caution, I have no filter."
Yeah.
Okay.
Have we met? I mean, seriously.
No, I'm kidding. It's not controversial.
I was going to say, anybody who knows me knows I have no filters.
You do. So let me ask you, do you operate the same way in your professional environment?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. In fact, this came up actually today. I was in a meeting with my manager, and my manager watches the show.
Great.
So every single week she watches the show, and she's like, I love it. I'm always tuning in. And when people hear me talk about it at work, I always have to tell them, okay, professional Paul is way different than podcast Paul. So just be prepared.
Okay, right.
Because you're not going to see, the professional Paul that you would see during the day job. You're going to see a completely different person.
Right. It's funny because, we had talked with Dee from Family last.
Yeah.
And we were talking a little bit about those different personas that you have. And I started questioning it after we had talked with her because, I said, really, I have the same persona professionally and personally. And then I started questioning, like, maybe that's not good.
Well, I feel like you're the straight guy, not straight, in terms of sexuality, but the straight guy. Ooh, and I'm more of the comic relief of the two of us.
Yeah.
Like, you keep me in check.
Well,
and I'm, no filter. I throw anything out there. So I think that's why the dynamic works between us. So
yeah. There are certain things I'm like, maybe we shouldn't say that.
Right?
Maybe don't click post.
Yeah, right.
Yes, for sure.
That a lot. It's like, okay, right. And then I'm like, not so much delete.
That is so funny. Yeah, for sure. I am probably a little bit more, I don't want to say guarded, but maybe more censored. Or both.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
So one thing that's really fun that we were talking about earlier are our first celebrity crushes.
Yeah.
It's so funny because when you say that, immediately I have one person that comes into mind. But how about for you? Who were yours?
So I'm gonna date myself with this, I'm sure, but everyone knows I'm older, in generation and grew up, in the 70s and was in high school in the 80s. So I know Brianna's probably like, oh my God, they're so old. But anyway, so in the 70s, like late 70s, like, do you remember the TV show Chips?
Of course.
Yeah, Eric Estrada.
Oh, yeah, he was
sure.
hot,
and he used to have a poster where he was like shirtless.
Oh, yeah, he was everywhere.
And I was like, oh my God. So and then I've talked about The Bionic Woman and The $6 Million Man. Mm-hmm. So Steve Austin, The $6 Million Man, like, yeah. But the one that really, really did it for me, and you're going to laugh when you hear this.
Okay.
So you remember Hardy Boys and Nancy
yeah.
Drew.
Yeah.
Sean Cassidy.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
yeah.
I was all gaga over him, and he's actually coming to Tampa to perform.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
well, maybe we should go.
I know, right? So, and I told Brian Mailman, our friend Brian, because he does karaoke, I told him, I said, if you sing Hey Deanie, I'll throw my underwear at you.
Okay, well.
And he still hasn't done it yet. So,
well, maybe he's scared.
Brian,
I don't know.
you still owe me a Hey Deanie at karaoke.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know he will absolutely take you up on that.
will.
Oh my
I know he
gosh, that
will.
is really funny.
Yeah. So yours is...
Well, it's so funny because now I feel embarrassed to say mine.
Why?
Because the guys you mentioned were like major heartthrobs.
Yeah.
So I remember back in the day, probably, I think this would have been early 80s. Do you remember that show Silver Spoons?
Yes.
Do you remember Ricky Schroeder?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just had the hugest crush on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. He was my absolute favorite. I'm trying to think if there was anyone else.
You know he's MAGA, right?
Well, you know, he's not perfect, but no, I did not know that.
Yes,
I don't
he's
follow
MAGA.
him. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Not to crush your dreams or anything.
Right. I remember he was on, I think there used to be Celebrities with the Stars, like the Olympics and stuff.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that show. And they
Yeah.
would like have these celebrities do these like crazy things.
Battle of the Network
Battle
Stars.
of the Network Stars.
Yeah.
He was on Battle of the Network Stars. It was the holidays.
Yeah.
And my parents told me I had to go to bed. And I had this black and white TV in my room with a Christmas tree. And so I turned on the lights of my Christmas tree in my room, and then I was watching him on the black and white TV. I just was like,
Yeah,
so
because when
happy.
they did swimming events, they were all in Speedos.
Now that I think back, he was either in like some type of swimming or
Right.
gymnastics event. And I just remember I was probably like 10 years old and very interested.
Exactly. And I'm sure our producer, Travis, and Brianna are like, what? Who? What? Like,
I think a lot of our audience may relate. Yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh, that's
our
so
audience
funny.
is a little bit on the older side, so I'm sure they'll probably
they'll remember.
They'll probably remember that.
sure.
But yeah.
What about now? Like, 2025. You have any
not
heartthrobs
David
now?
Archuleta.
Not David Archuleta. That's a shout out to Morgan, by the way.
Yeah. Now. Wow, that's really tough. I don't know if I've got like a celebrity crush now.
Celebrity crush 2025.
Maybe Benson Boone.
Okay, I don't know Benson
So
Boone.
Benson Boone sings beautiful things.
Okay.
And he always does backflips on the stage.
Oh.
So
Okay, so
he's a hottie.
are you into the
sure.
backflips or are you into him?
I'm into the fact that he tends to go commando in his jumpsuits, and you
Oh, okay.
and you can see what he's working with. So
Right.
that's what I'm into.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. I can't think of any like heartthrobs right now. Maybe it's just our age.
Maybe.
Well, the thing of it is, I'm a big Bravo fan. So I watch a lot of the like Housewives. There's some really attractive men on Summer House, which is a Bravo show.
Or Below Deck.
Below Deck.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some really attractive guys on there too. But yeah.
But even on the Housewives, like Mauricio, I think Mauricio's really super cute.
Yeah, I never got into Mauricio on
Really?
Beverly Hills Housewives. No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Okay. I never got into PK or any of the other like husbands. But,
Right.
But Mauricio, I was like, yeah, he's kind of hot.
Yeah, a lot of people really did like him.
Yeah.
Let's talk about one more thing really quick. I'm kind of curious your take on this because I don't think I have this, but I think you might. FOMO.
Oh, yeah. Oh, obviously.
Okay.
So FOMO, for those of you who don't know, is fear of missing out.
Mm-hmm.
So I will tell you, I used to live in St. Petersburg. And then when I got married to Rick, I moved to Seminole Heights because that's where he lived. So since I've moved to Seminole Heights, I have major FOMO because everything is going on in St. Pete.
Right.
And while I don't mind driving across the bridge, because we've had this discussion before, I'll drive across the bridge all day long. It's hard for me to drive across the bridge when there are evening activities, especially if it's on nights that I have to work the next day.
Yeah.
So I feel like I see all these pictures on social media of people at Cocktail and
mean
all these
like
other
last
places.
night for the kickoff?
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm missing out. I'm like, this sucks. So yeah, I mean, I definitely get it every now and then.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I miss being in St. Pete. I if I could move back there and
we've tried to convince Rick to get you guys
he
back.
Will never,
he will
never
move
back.
And you
over.
guys really do live in a great area.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
we do.
Anyway,
for sure.
and there's a lot of fun things that happen in Tampa.
There is, but there's more that happens in St. Pete.
It feels like there is. Yeah, there is for sure.
Yeah.
And shout out to Cocktail. They had an amazing kickoff party yesterday.
I heard.
They had fire performers and they had Alice Marie Grip. They had Seduction on.
Oh, nice.
Seduction will be on
guest.
one of our next episodes coming up. So yeah, they had a great lineup. They had Susie Toot.
Oh, nice.
So really, really packed, really, really crowded. A lot of hot men, a lot of people celebrating Pride, the kickoff. It was really fun. It was funny because I was actually at Lost and Found. Brianna Summers, she does drag bingo at Lost and Found. So we were just down the street a little bit and we're like, oh, let's go check it out. We walk outside. It was just like this huge street festival. I was like, wow.
You didn't know it was in the street?
Well, I did not know it was going to be that large with all those performers
Yeah, it's 2 blocks.
and all those people.
It
I
was
had
2
no
blocks.
idea. I had never gone to the kickoff before.
Yeah, this is the thing I can say about David and Lee now that we've interviewed them. Like his business mind, their business mind, brilliant. Like they get the best talent. They plan the best events.
Absolutely.
Like, kudos to them for coming up with the ideas that they come up with and getting the talent that they get because it's always outstanding. So, I'm a big fan of theirs now that we've, talked to them and interviewed them. So.
Yeah. And they're really, oh my God, the passion they have for all of their businesses, for the passion that they have for the community, it's really unbelievable. And they literally work day to night.
Right. I don't know how they do it.
I really don't know how they do it either. Well, we will. We're excited for Pride Month. And we'll take a little break here and we'll talk to Brianna Summers in just a moment.
Yay.
Welcome back. We're excited to introduce our guest today, Brianna Summers.
Welcome. Thanks for having me. I know. It took all of a whole season to get me here. Why am I a season 2 girl?
Oh my gosh. Hey, well, wasn't season 2 of RuPaul better than the season 1? No, I'm just joking.
It did have Nicole Page Brooks on it.
Okay, well, there you go. Okay, there you go. But
There you go.
Welcome. We're so excited to talk to you today.
I'm excited to be here, guys.
So, you do a lot in the community. For listeners that may not know you yet, why don't you tell us a little bit just about you yourself and your background, how you started in drag and all that fun
Wait,
stuff.
hold on. There are people out there that don't know me? That's why. That's why. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
I'm
you're
not
really
like
cracking
that.
me up big time already. Okay. This is this should be national. So maybe there are some folks that don't know.
Maybe.
Out of the area. You never know.
I'm Brianna Summers. I am known as the drag diva or drag brunch diva of Tampa Bay. I've created my own business. I've created my own drag brunch entity, winner of numerous awards, bingos, brunches. I kind of do it all.
Okay, I love that. Yeah, Paul and I saw you at, was it Red Mesa Cantina?
Red Mesa when we did
the Brittany
brunch.
Oh my gosh, that was so much fun.
Yes.
One thing that was really amazing about that event is that you got a really eclectic group of folks. You got a lot of, and we love you, the straight folks that came out and people that were dressed up in Brittany. It was really, really a lot of fun. And I enjoyed going there because you got to see new faces in the community.
Right.
Yeah.
That, and that's been kind of a conversation out there between like the gay and the straight community. Why drag entertainers or gay people cater to straight people so much whenever, they could vote against us or they could do all these things. They're not really there for us. But here's the thing. I have found through my travels that there are straight people out there that really do accept us.
Absolutely.
That do want to be involved. And that is how they can show that they are an ally.
Right.
And my brunches, prove that. I have straight people, gay people. I have all different types of people that are constantly at them. And the Red Mesa brunch, that was our first Brittany brunch we've ever done.
Fun, okay.
We do 3 brunches a year. And our big one is the St. Pete Pride brunch. We're on year 4 for the brunch that day of St. Pete Pride. And it brings so many different people together and we have fun. Paul, you said something about your drawers earlier. What did you say? Throwing your underwear off?
I said if Brian Mailman would sing "Hey Deanie" at karaoke, I would throw my underwear at him.
All right.
Yeah.
So now listen, next time you're at one of my brunches, because my tagline generally is, if I don't see a nipple or a pair of drawers, I'm not doing my job correctly.
It's true.
So you gotta show me your drawers, show me a nipple. But that's what brunch, like to me, a drag brunch, I want interaction from the audience. I want to have fun. Not at a nightclub to where I'm just on a stage, where, you know, the interaction with the audience is kind of limited to where you're on a stage, the audience is here. You have to be in the audience's faces. There's interaction, and that's what I love about brunch. But I also love getting up and drinking at 10 a.m. So,
right.
You know, it's just the best part of waking up.
I think it's great,
cup.
though, because I've seen you do drag bingos at Lost and Found, at No Vacancy. And the folks that come in there are not totally gay. It's a mixed crowd. I've seen you stop traffic on Central Avenue, so you really do get that
That's true.
audience engagement. Haiku, I saw you, I think, even tear your wig off, and whoop,
Yes,
there it goes.
That's the summer Florida heat.
Oh my gosh, how do you guys deal with that? I don't even know.
It's
That's
miserable.
crazy.
And you may not know this, but the first time I saw you was at Haku.
Okay.
At the Balance Tampa Bay
Okay.
fundraiser,
Right.
which was actually the first time I saw him.
Really?
Yeah.
See, bringing
Because
gays
he
together.
was there,
Yeah.
and I had taken I was taking pictures for Balance Tampa Bay.
Okay, yes.
And I have a picture of him that I had taken with the group that
Did I
he
look
was with.
miserable?
Were you miserable?
Might have been, maybe.
I felt miserable that day. Anywho,
So it came all full circle.
I love that. Yeah.
so you've been in the drag scene for what, about a decade now?
10 years.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
How have you seen
Oh.
it evolve over the years?
Oh, God, that's such a wild question. So I think I was one of the very few that kind of came in at the old school drag era, especially in Tampa Bay. And I'm kind of the only one that is still around out of my little group that was performing in like the talent shows and stuff. And then you have this whole new wave of queens that are just so different than the old school. You've got your TikTok queens or your social media ones, you know, ones that started on social media that they may have never been to a drag show in person. Everything that they've learned could have been all through YouTube and social media and stuff. It's so different because there is nothing like learning your drag from a dressing room full of old school seasoned entertainers.
Right.
That's how I learned.
That's so cool.
And that's what I enjoy. And there's a banter that comes with that. There's camaraderie that comes with that. There is things that you are learning in a dressing room you're not learning in your bedroom. And, you know, if there's anything that I can send out to new queens, listen in the dressing rooms. Pay attention.
Right.
Pay attention. Like, that's how you're going to learn and how you're going to grow. And how you're going to get to know show directors better, your castmates better. You're going to be able to create, you know, a sense of sisterhood. And that's what drag is really about to me.
And so you're a show director also, right?
I am.
Okay. So do you find challenges with like booking talent?
Oh my
Is
God.
it political? Does someone get mad if you hire them and don't hire somebody else?
Yeah, what's the tea?
Oh, Lord. So listen, here's the thing. Okay. I've had the longest running drag brunch in Tampa Bay, Neptune Grill in Gulfport. 7 years I had that brunch until the hurricanes. Right. And Neptune actually just spoke with the owner. They are rebuilding. Hopefully we will be back open very soon.
Awesome.
So I'll be able to get that show back up and running. I have booked many different types of entertainers on the drag spectrum over the years. And I'm very selective on where I put people, where I think entertainers, what stage they might fit in, who is good at a brunch, who could be good at a night show, their aesthetic. There's so much that comes with it. Now, also what comes with that is knowing that not every type of entertainment is meant for every stage, myself included. I don't get booked at certain venues. Maybe they don't feel like I'm right for their stage. I'm okay with that. That's also why I've gone on my own and I've done my own things. But anyways, so.
Well, good for you. Yeah, that's awesome.
So punctuality, professionalism, those are my two biggest things whenever it comes to who I'm booking in drag.
Right. Now, I have to ask you, and I have a cup of tea right here. Don't you think that personalities, like maybe there's someone that's more difficult to work with than someone else, you might avoid them, right?
Most definitely.
Okay.
Most definitely. You know, and people will say like, oh, you book your friends or you book, you know, those closest to you. No, I book the ones that show up for me. I book the ones that I can trust. The ones that I have given a chance to book, those are the ones that have let me down.
Yeah.
I've given my own pay to entertainers that have needed help or needed a chance or something, and they have let me down. And I've lost trust.
Right.
So,
because you're a business owner.
That's the thing where I think people get it confused. I have to run a business.
Right.
I am putting on a show for business owners that trust me to put a show on inside their venue.
Right.
It's not personal sometimes. I mean, it is. If you can't get along with who I have on in cast, if I hear things about you in a dressing room that you don't get along with people, you're nasty, whatever the case may be, you're gonna have to prove me different. You know. So booking is hard.
I was going to say,
hard.
I would say, you know, you've been really open about your mental health challenges.
Oh, God, yeah.
And, you know, when you have the pressures of, you know, the talent, you're also trying to make the business owners happy. You're trying to make your business work.
I'm trying to make entertainers happy. You know, and diversity is a big thing, too. I know Morgan talked about different types of entertainers having onto the show.
Right.
And that I look at that. I do not like looking at a flyer. Nothing against my white girls. I'm a white girl. I don't like looking at a flyer with all white girls on a cast.
Right.
I'm like, I can only imagine how unseasoned that show's gonna be.
Yeah.
I want some flavor. I want some flair.
Right.
Yes.
You know, and I'm a big stickler on I want every type of person on a cast on each of my shows. Sometimes it might not happen that way. I might have a girl that cancels or an entertainer that cancels, and I have to get somebody that I can pull through in a pinch.
Right.
So, you know, I'm a big on diversity and different types of entertainment, but also you've got to be able to entertain my audiences. So,
Makes sense.
because they tell me.
Yeah.
They tell me. My people tell me.
Right.
I mean, like right after the show, that entertainer could be standing right next to me, and they'll be like, that one there, we didn't really like her. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So you started a new gym routine, right? And you started a new therapy routine. I don't know if it's new.
Yeah. It's new.
How have
It's all
those
new.
habits like kind of helped you with like the daily grind?
So I have been the past probably year and a half really, really struggling with my mental health, everything. I found myself drinking to try to, I guess, mask, which is not something that I do because I don't take any medication. I don't smoke any weed. I don't do anything
Right.
to keep me from feeling my feelings because that's why we have them as human beings.
Right.
We are meant to feel our emotions. And I go through them and I wear them on my sleeve. I'm a very open and honest person. And I feel like the past year and a half has been a big challenge for me being myself because I feel like there are people that are just constantly at me for whatever which reason. And I let them get to me.
Now, are these people in the community?
Yeah.
Okay, got you. Okay. Yeah, because I think, people don't realize when you're in the spotlight, there's a lot of amazing things, but there are going to be, I hate to say it,
Haters.
There's going to be haters. Yeah.
So usually
and we
when-
have that too.
Yeah.
And it's like, I always tell David and I always tell everybody else, if you don't have haters, you're not doing it right.
And you know what? That is
True.
something that people have constantly told me, but I don't necessarily go by that because I want people to like me. Maybe that's where I am falling short because I guess, to get to the top, you have to not give a fuck about anybody, right? Is that
Girl, I don't even know what to say right now. I'm like, oh.
you get to the top being lonely. You get to the top by fighting your hardest
Yeah.
to make it,
Yeah.
no matter what anybody says, right? And that's my struggle. I don't want that. I don't want to be that person.
Right.
But people have turned me into that
that
person.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I see where the therapy's coming in.
Actually, no, it was so funny because I had to have therapy so I could come onto the podcast. Like I had to be like, okay. She's like, you don't have to answer any question right away. Breathe. And then take some time to think about it. But now here I am. I'm just spilling it.
So you're out there. Here's the comment. I mean, it's a common thread because we've had Rachel Cavello on. Who,
I love Rachel.
Who
She's one of
has
my big mentors.
anxiety and I
Yes.
suffer from depression, anxiety, and PTSD. So I feel like the more that we talk about it, the more we can join together
Right.
and help each other.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, we all need to be supportive of each other
Yeah.
and help us through our mental health issues.
Right.
Yeah,
And,
and that's-
I
yeah.
believe in that.
That's
Yeah.
why I love having this dialogue with you because it brings it out to the forefront. And a lot of people struggle with it and they try to hide it. And then, like you had mentioned, the alcohol, people
Yeah.
try to cope with the alcohol, and it's just not healthy long term.
It's not healthy.
Yeah,
And
right.
that's I like to drink, and people will have things that they want to say about me. I usually don't drink during the week, and I don't keep alcohol in the house. So alcoholic, not this one.
Yeah.
If you see me out, or at a show, I'll drink. I'll partake. I like to have fun. My guests like to, but I do know a stopping point.
right.
I do know. And it's just people will have their own thing that they say about you no matter
Right.
what.
Right. That's
So
absolutely
how are you kind of moving above it all, like above the fray?
Therapy.
Do you feel like you're making good progress though?
I do. And
Okay,
actually,
that's great. Okay.
I've been in twice a week for about a month now.
Oh, great. Okay.
On top of going to the gym, and I took a full month off of drag. I took a full month off of drag, and that was something that was so needed because I didn't realize how toxic drag had become for me.
Wow. Yeah.
It's something that I loved so much. Now, drag started on a very, very dark, in a dark place for me. And I always go back to that dark place as the reason why I started and then how I've rose above that and where I'm at now, and
It's such an inspirational story, your origin story.
thanks, yeah.
I mean,
It's-
would you mind sharing just a touch of it? Like how you
I
got
don't
into
mind.
it?
I don't mind.
Yeah.
So I started drag because of an abusive relationship. He tried to kill me. And because of alcohol. He was drunk. And I was in a very, very dark place. And my drag mom, she put me in drag one night. I did an open floor night in Gainesville and I felt good. And 10 years later, here I am.
Well, that's great. Yeah.
So, I have stories. I've gone through a lot. I know who I am as a person, but I also lost sight of who I am as a person because of this character.
Right.
It's very easy to do in drag because you get so immersed in creating a character and it takes over your mind. Like I have multiple people living in this head. Like there are so many people in this head. I'm not only in a relationship with myself as Brian, I'm in a relationship with Briana. I'm in a relationship with Dom, my partner. I'm in a relationship with my business. Socially, I'm in relationships. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's stressful.
Yeah.
And I think I have been able to reconnect again with myself through therapy, through the gym, to be able to take on things as I can in the future.
Yeah, and I've known you for about a year and a half now, and I will say, in talking with you, I do feel like a renewed sense of energy coming from you. So it's so great to see that, you took that time off.
Yeah.
And it probably is just going to pay back in tenfold.
I hope so.
Yeah, for sure.
I really hope so. And I hope, over the next few months that people do feel that I am taking the time to work on myself. And I believe in mental health counseling. I believe that in the world that we're living in now, do it.
Yeah.
Whether you feel good or not, there's no right way to do therapy.
Right.
Yeah, and some people can't afford the therapy. Project No Labels will offer free
That's absolutely right.
on an adjusted scale. So, there are resources out there for folks to access therapy. So, yeah, it's really important. Now, you were talking about relationships.
Yeah.
And so, obviously, I've met Dom, your partner. And so, how is it being a performer and then being in that relationship? Do you find challenges or?
So, I was not in a relationship for 10 years. The abusive relationship was my last relationship until Dom. I had like small dating kind of things, but nothing that was really tremendous or long-term. It's wild because whenever people say don't date a drag queen, it's because it's very difficult. We live a life of or a lack of structure in our lives. Sometimes we can be up late at night. Sometimes, we're constantly in shows. We're doing things like this. Some of our schedules are really, really crazy. The one thing that Dom always says is he's not dating Briana, he's dating Brian.
Okay.
Our relationship, Briana has hindered it. We've had to go back several times and remind ourselves why we love each other, why we are in a relationship. And I've had to remember, I have to make time for that relationship. I have to make time for that relationship so we can be successful together in it.
Right.
So it's really difficult. Like I said, I'm not.
And he saw your schedule for June, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's why I took the month off to so we could be okay and talk about that. Oh God, it's gonna be a wild ride at June.
Yeah, definitely keep looking at the socials because you are everywhere. It's gonna be really fun. Now, I want to talk maybe a little bit of a fun question here before we wrap it up. If you could have your premier cast of performers here, maybe the top 5, who would they be? If you could put a show together,
locally.
Well, I was gonna say locally to make it a little bit more controversial, but really I think just generally, or maybe a local and then a national.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Let's do locally first.
Okay, locally. So I actually have, I think, one of my perfect shows, the Red Mesa Drag Brunch.
Oh, cool.
For St. Pete Pride.
Okay.
My lineup is, I'm so excited. So Autumn V is going to be my hype person.
Love her.
Was the Brittany Brunch.
Yeah.
I have Angelique Young Cavalier.
Oh,
nice.
Veronica, Sky, and myself.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Performance, entertainment value, there cannot be a more perfect cast.
Oh my gosh.
I love old school drag. I love entertainment. And I love being entertained. I love high energy.
Yeah.
And all of these entertainers give that.
They do.
And
that's
what
exciting.
I want.
Get your tickets.
Yeah. Right. That's what I want in a show, and I love Kennedy Davenport. I've gotten to work. I actually came top 5 at Heart of Florida, which is now a different pageant a few years ago with Kennedy Davenport. When she won Heart of Florida, I was top 5 with her, and my first national pageant. And her being on a cast, I love the dancing girls, like the ones that just put their all, but they can also stand and command the audience.
I was just gonna say
and
the
lip
command
sync and just perform. Giselle Barbie Royale, Chantel DeMarco, Melanie Monroe. Those are all 3. They were footlight players at the Parliament House with Miss Darcel Stevens. Those were shows that I never missed because of that cast. I loved it. And there's different types of entertainment, and I just love my old school drag.
Is there any national call-outs or RuPaul drag girls that you would?
That I would? I don't know. You know who I would think I would love to work with is Plastic Tiara.
Okay, I don't know. Her.
You don't. So Plastic, I can't remember what season she was on, but look her up. You'll know her whenever you see her. Like, I think she would just be fun to work with. I think she's got that kind of stupid personality like I do that is just, I think she would be fun. I think she'd be like the first one that comes to mind. She's stunning. Just stunning. So
awesome. So yeah, let's kind of wrap up here. If you had, we've talked about a lot of serious stuff. We talked about a lot of fun stuff. But if you wanted to give viewers maybe like one takeaway, what would that be?
One takeaway.
Or two.
Oh, gosh. Never eat Chipotle after midnight.
Or Taco Bell.
No, Taco Bell always.
I feel like there's a story behind that.
Oh, gosh. Oh, yeah. Veronica has one.
Okay.
She told it.
Yeah, on the show. Yes.
Yes, she did. That's so
Pay
funny.
attention. I think my biggest thing is be honest, either with yourself and others. And I think be your most authentic self at all points of your life.
Yep.
Because I think that's where I have done the best. No matter what I have gone through, I have never changed who I am to get anywhere or to be anyone that I don't believe that I am. I have been my most authentic self. And I feel in the long run, things will be better whenever you keep it 100 with yourself.
Wow, I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
I guess I need to take some of that advice for myself. You've got so much coming up in June.
Yeah.
What would be maybe a few events you'd like to really showcase on the show today?
So definitely Red Mesa Drag Brunch.
Okay.
June 28th. That is our 4th year for the Pride Brunch. Like I said, we have a killer cast. I've got a few charity bingos lined up. I have a lot.
And then your social has your calendar.
My social has my calendar.
And we just shared it on our socials, so you can find it on Skittle Squad Podcast.
I saw you taking a nap after you looked at it, Paul. I was writing it out today, and I was like, oh my God.
It's so much. I'm exhausted just reading it.
Yeah, it was a lot. It took me a long time to put that together,
I'm sure.
actually.
Oh my God. I really, that's impressive. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're taking the first week of July off.
Yes, I have to. Because usually after St. Pete Pride, I get sick.
Oh, no.
I wear myself out.
Wow.
And I usually don't drink during St. Pete Pride weekend.
That makes sense, yeah.
Because I'm working so much that I'm practicing no.
Oh, I'm sure you're just getting shots and drinks just brought right up to you while you're performing.
Yeah. In the bathrooms.
Yeah.
Like I'm using the bathroom. People are like, here, you want a shot?
Oh, wow.
Where did you even get that?
How did you even know I was in here?
How did you know I was in here?
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Well, we really are excited to see everything you're going to do.
Thank you.
And we would love to have you come back on the show.
Absolutely.
This is not the 2-hour special for me. I have to come back?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I'll take it.
Yeah. You're going to have more events, I'm sure.
Okay, I'll take it.
For sure. Any final thoughts from you, Paul?
Not for me. So if you want to be a guest on the Skittle Squad podcast, or if you want to be an advertiser on the show, you can reach us at contact@theskittlesquad.com.
Yeah, again, thank you, Brianna, for coming on today.
you guys
So
for having
great
me.
chatting. Definitely follow us on our socials, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We are here because you are watching. Thank you for your support, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.